ladies and gentlemen, and tennis fans. Welcome back to my channel. I am still trying to catch my breath because we had just witnessed an absolute masterclass on the grass courts of the Steffi Graf Stadion. If you had told me at the beginning of the week that the 2026 Berlin Open would culminate in one of the most astonishingly dominant semifinal performances we have seen all year, I might have believed you. But if you told me it would be the 21-year-old Filipino wildcard, Alexandra Eala, completely dismantling the formidable Linda Noskova, I would have said you were out of your mind. But here we are. The title of today's video says it all. Alex Eala destroys Linda Noskova. And I do not use the word destroy lightly. This was not just a victory. This was a statement. This was a complete and utter unraveling of an established top-tier opponent. A Berlin Open semifinal shocker that has sent shockwaves through the entire Women's Tennis Association tour. And it happened live right in front of a completely captivated, stunned, and exhilarated German crowd. We are talking about a match that defied every single pre-game prediction, every algorithmic projection, and quite frankly, all conventional tennis logic. Linda Noskova, the powerful Czech sensation who herself has been having a phenomenal tournament, was widely expected to use her heavy ground strokes and immense serve to dictate the terms of this semifinal. After all, Noskova absolutely cruised past Paula Badosa in her previous match, needing just 68 minutes to punch her ticket to the semifinal showdown. Noskova looked unbeatable. She looked like a woman on a mission, primed to take the title. But from the very first ball struck today, Alex Eala flipped the script so violently that the tennis world is still spinning. Eala did not just absorb Noskova's power. She redirected it, she neutralized it, and she ultimately crushed it with a level of precision, aggression, and tactical brilliance that we usually only see from seasoned multiple-time Grand Slam champions. This was the kind of performance that makes you realize you are watching the birth of a brand-new superstar, a player who has officially arrived on the biggest stage and is no longer just a promising prospect, but a bona fide, terrifying contender. Think about the context of what we just saw. Alex Eala came into this tournament as a wild card. Let that sink in. A wild card. She had to battle her way through a gauntlet of tennis royalty just to get to this point. In the opening round, she took down Donna Vekic. Then, in the round of 16, she pulled off one of the upsets of the year by eliminating the world number 2 and former Wimbledon champion, Elena Rybakina, showing incredible mental fortitude to close out that match in straight sets. As if that wasn't enough, in the quarterfinals, she faced a veteran, the warrior, the incredible Elena Svitolina, and beat her 6-3, 6-4, proving that her victory over Rybakina was no fluke. Eala had already played the tennis of her life to reach the semifinals. Most analysts, myself included, wondered if she would have any gas left in the tank. We wondered if the emotional high of beating 3 top-tier players consecutively would lead to a letdown against a fresh, hungry Linda Noskova. Instead, Eala came out and played even better. She found another gear. She stepped onto the pristine grass of the Steffi Graf Stadion and delivered a straight sets beatdown so comprehensive, so breathtakingly efficient, that Noskova was left looking toward her player box with utter bewilderment. This is a monumental moment, not just for Alex Eala, but for the entire nation of the Philippines, who are rallying behind their tennis phenom as she rewrites the history books with every single swing of her racket. She is currently riding a massive wave of momentum, having already captured the WTA 125 title in Birmingham earlier this month, and now boasting a phenomenal win-loss record on grass this season. But even with all those accolades, no one could predict the sheer magnitude of the destruction she laid upon Linda Noskova today. It was a clinic in court geometry, a masterclass in return of serve, and a display of psychological dominance that will be talked about for years to time. So, buckle up, grab your favorite beverage, and get comfortable, because we're going to dive incredibly deep into every single aspect of this historic match. We're going to break down exactly how Alex Eala neutralized the Czech powerhouse, the specific tactical adjustments she made, the statistics that defined this jaw-dropping victory, and what this massive shocker means for the upcoming Wimbledon championships. Let's get right into the deep dive analysis of the match that has turned the tennis world completely upside down. To truly appreciate the magnitude of what Alexandra Eala accomplished today against Linda Noskova, we first have to take a step back and examine the extraordinary trajectory of Eala's grass court season in 2026. Grass is arguably the most complex and demanding surface in professional tennis. It requires incredibly quick reflexes, a willingness to stay low, an aggressive mindset, and an innate ability to handle unpredictable bounces. For many young players, transitioning to the grass court swing is a nightmare. It takes years to develop the specific footwork and the sliced defensive shots required to survive on this slick surface. But Alex Eala has taken to the grass not just with competence, but with an absolute vengeance. Coming into Berlin Open, Eala had already put the tour on notice by storming through the draw to win the WTA 125 title in Birmingham. That victory alone was a massive milestone, securing her status as a legitimate threat. But the WTA 500 event in Berlin is an entirely different beast. The field here is stacked with top 10 players, Grand Slam champions, and seasoned veterans who specifically use this tournament as their primary tune-up for Wimbledon. For a wild card to navigate this draw is impressive. For a wild card to absolutely obliterate the field is historic. Let us dissect the tactical blueprint that Eala executed to perfection against Linda Noskova. Noskova's game is built on sheer, unadulterated power. She possesses one of the heaviest first serves on the women's tour, and her ground strokes, particularly her forehand, are designed to push opponents deep behind the baseline and rush their decision-making. When Noskova is dictating play, she is incredibly difficult to stop, as Paula Badosa found out the hard way in the previous round. The key to defeating Noskova on a fast surface like grass is to take away her time, neutralize her first serve, and force her to hit on the run. This is exactly what Eala did, and she did it with a level of clinical execution that was astonishing to witness. From the very first return game, Eala made a statement. Instead of standing far back to absorb the pace of Noskova's serve, Eala stepped inside the baseline. This aggressively forward positioning is highly risky. If you miss time to return, the ball is past you before you can even react. But Eala's hand-eye coordination and racket head speed were impeccable. She was taking Noskova's first serves on a rise, redirecting the pace, and sending the ball back incredibly deep right at Noskova's feet. This completely disrupted the Czech player's rhythm. Noskova, who usually relies on cheap points from her serve, suddenly found herself instantly on the defensive in her own service games. Furthermore, let's talk about Eala's cross-court backhand. It was without a shadow of a doubt the shot of the match. Historically, players have tried to target Eala's forehand to break down her game, but over the last year, she has developed her two-handed backhand into an absolute weapon of mass destruction. Today, she used it to pry open the court. Every time Noskova tried to hit a heavy topspin ball cross-court, Eala would step in and rip a flat, penetrating backhand down the line, catching Noskova completely off guard. The grass court accentuates flat shots because the ball skids through the surface rather than bouncing up into the opponent's strike zone. Eala capitalized on this characteristic perfectly. She kept the ball incredibly low, forcing the taller Noskova to constantly bend her knees and dig the ball out of the turf. Over the course of the match, you could physically see the toll this took on Noskova's legs. The Czech player's footwork became progressively heavier, her recovery stepped slower, and her unforced error count began to skyrocket. But it was not just Eala's aggression that won her this match. It was her incredible defensive anticipation. Eala moves on the grass like she was born on it. Her ability to transition from defense to offense in the blink of an eye is what separates the good players from the great ones. There were multiple rallies today where Noskova hit what looked to be a guaranteed clean winner, a blistering forehand into the open corner. Yet, Eala was already there. She possesses an uncanny ability to read her opponent's shoulders and anticipate the direction of the shot before the racket even meets the ball. By the time Noskova finished her follow-through, Eala had not only tracked the ball down, but had hit a precise passing shot that left Noskova stranded at the net. This kind of defensive brilliance is deeply demoralizing for an aggressive player. When you hit your best shot, a shot that would be a winner against 99% of the tour, and it comes back at you even faster, it shatters your confidence. You could see the frustration mounting in Noskova's body language. She started to overhit, aiming closer and closer to the lines in a desperate attempt to hit through Eala, which naturally led to a barrage of unforced errors. Let us also delve into the psychological aspect of this incredible semifinal, because tennis is as much a mental game as it is physical. Alex Eala is 21 years old. At that age, stepping onto the center court of a major WTA 500 semifinal, with the eyes of the world and an entire nation watching, the pressure can be absolutely suffocating. Just look at her run leading up to this match. She had to emotionally recalibrate after achieving the biggest win of her career against Elena Rybakina. Then she had to face Alina Svitolina, a player known for her legendary grit and fighting spirit. Eala herself said after the Svitolina match that she was in shock, that she had been watching Svitolina since she was a kid, and that she admired Svitolina's elegance and strength as a mother on tour. For a young player to have that level of self-awareness and humility, and then to compartmentalize those emotions and step onto the court against Noskova with absolute cold-blooded focus, is incredibly rare. Today, Eala looked like an ice queen. There were no wild emotional outbursts, no negative self-talk, no signs of panic, even when Noskova managed to string a few good points together. Eala's demeanor was a testament to her immense maturity and the fantastic work her coaching team has done in developing her mental toughness. She played every point as if it were a separate, isolated event, completely unburdened by the scoreline or the magnitude of the occasion. We must also recognize the absolute sheer dominance of Eala's own service games. Throughout this tournament, her serve has been the rock-solid foundation of her success. Against Svitolina, she maintained a high first serve percentage and consistently hit her spots when facing break points. Against Noskova, her serve was practically untouchable. While she may not serve with the sheer velocity of Rybakina or a Sabalenka, Eala's placement and variety are world-class. She expertly mixed up her serves, utilizing the wide slice serve on the deuce side to pull Noskova completely off the court, opening up the entire ad side for a comfortable put-away. On the ad side, she utilized a heavy kick serve that jumped up high to Noskova's backhand, preventing the Czech from taking aggressive cuts at the return. The unpredictability of Eala's serve kept Noskova guessing constantly. When a returner cannot find a rhythm, they cannot apply pressure. Because Eala was holding her serve so comfortably, it allowed her to play with absolute freedom and aggression on her return games. She was swinging for the fences because she knew that even if she missed a return, her own service game was an impenetrable fortress. This dynamic created a massive scoreboard pressure that eventually crushed Noskova's resolve. Furthermore, we need to talk about what this means for the broader landscape of women's tennis. For the past few years, we have seen the emergence of incredible young talents, but the consistency at the very top has often been dominated by a select few. Alex Eala's explosive run in Berlin, culminating in this utter destruction of a top-tier player like Noskova, signals a massive shift in the hierarchy. Eala is proving that she does not just belong in the top echelon. She is actively dismantling it by taking out a diverse array of playing styles, from the defensive counterpunching of Svitolina to the immense serving power of Rybakina and now the aggressive baseline bashing of Noskova. Eala has demonstrated a complete, all-court game that has virtually no exploitable weaknesses. Her tennis IQ is off the charts. She problem-solves in real time, identifying her opponent's weaknesses within the first few games and ruthlessly exploiting them. This adaptability makes her an incredibly dangerous opponent for anyone in the world. Looking ahead, the implications of this victory are absolutely massive. First and foremost, Eala has booked her ticket to the biggest final of her career, regardless of who she faces in the championship match. She has already guaranteed herself a massive surge in the WTA rankings. This ranking boost is crucial because it will likely secure her seeded positions in future tournaments, protecting her from facing top-ranked players in the early rounds. But more importantly, this victory sends a terrifying message to the rest of the tour as we approach the third Grand Slam of the year. Wimbledon begins in just a matter of days. The All England Club is the ultimate proving ground for grass court tennis. After seeing what Alex Eala has done in Birmingham and now in Berlin, she has instantly catapulted herself from an interesting dark horse to a legitimate, undeniable contender for the Wimbledon title. I know that sounds like a massive leap, but look at the evidence. An incredibly dominant record on grass. Back-to-back victories over top 10 opponents. A semifinal performance where she made a phenomenal player like Linda Noskova look utterly ordinary. Eala possesses the exact skill set required to win Wimbledon. A reliable serve, aggressive flat ground strokes, exceptional movement, and an ironclad mentality. If she can maintain this level of physical conditioning and mental sharpness, There's absolutely no reason why she cannot make a deep historic run at SW19. We also have to acknowledge the incredible impact this is having back in the Philippines. The entire country has been waking up in the early hours of the morning to watch their homegrown hero take on the world's best. And she has delivered beyond their wildest dreams. Eala is not just playing for ranking points or prize money. She is carrying the hopes and dreams of a nation that has long awaited a true global superstar in the sport of tennis. The pressure of carrying a nation can break some athletes, but Eala seems to thrive on it. She embraces the support, she channels that energy into her performance, and she plays with joy and a fierce pride that is absolutely infectious to watch. Every time she hits a winner, you can almost hear the roar from Manila echoing in the Berlin Stadium. She is inspiring a completely new generation of young athletes in Southeast Asia, proving that with hard work, dedication, and an unbreakable spirit, it is entirely possible to conquer the global stage. As we reflect on the sheer tactical brilliance we just witnessed, it is worth breaking down some of the specific statistics that highlight the disparity in this match. While we are still waiting for the final, official numbers to be published by the tournament, the eye test told a very clear story. Eala's first serve win percentage was through the roof. She protected her second serve beautifully, not allowing NOSKOVÁ to step in and attack. On the return side, Eala generated an astonishing number of breakpoint opportunities, relentlessly applying pressure on the NOSKOVÁ serve. The unforced error count was heavily skewed, with NOSKOVÁ committing significantly more errors as she desperately tried to find a way through Eala's impregnable defense. Eala's winner-to-unforced error ratio was the mark of a player in absolute peak form, playing an elusive zone where the tennis ball looks the size of a watermelon and every shot finds its intended target. It was a flawless exhibition of grass court tennis, a match that coaches will be showing their students for years as a prime example of how to execute a game plan with ruthless efficiency. As the dust finally begins to settle here on the pristine lawns of the Steffi Graf Stadion, the reality of what has just transpired is finally sinking in. Alexandra Eala did not just win a tennis match today. She delivered a statement of intent that will echo throughout the locker rooms of the WTA Tour. To say she defeated Linda NOSKOVÁ will be a massive understatement. She dismantled her. She outplayed her in every single department tactically, physically, and psychologically. This semifinal was highly anticipated as a clash of two of the brightest young stars in the game, a battle of power versus precision. But Eala turned it into a one-sided masterclass, a stunning showcase of her rapid evolution into a genuine, unstoppable force on the grass courts. This Berlin Open shocker is a defining moment of Eala's career thus far, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that her recent victories over the likes of Elena Rybakina and Alina Svitolina were not lucky breaks, but the clear, undeniable results of a player who has simply leveled up in every conceivable way. For Linda NOSKOVÁ, this will undoubtedly be a tough pill to swallow. She has had a fantastic tournament, looking incredibly dangerous and powerful in her earlier rounds. But today, she simply ran into a brick wall. She encountered a player who had the perfect tactical blueprint to neutralize her power and the flawless execution to implement it under immense pressure. NOSKOVÁ will need to regroup, analyze what went wrong, and figure out how to adjust when an opponent takes away her time and space so effectively. She is a phenomenal talent, and there is no doubt she will bounce back from this. But today belonged entirely to the magic of the Filipina superstar. For Alex Eala, the sky is now the absolute limit. She has officially booked her place in her first ever WTA 500 final, a monumental achievement for the 21-year-old wild card. Regardless of what happens in the championship match, this week in Berlin has been a transformative experience. She has conquered former Grand Slam champions. She has conquered top 10 mainstays. And she has conquered the immense pressure of the global spotlight. She will wake up tomorrow morning with a vastly improved world ranking, a massive surge of confidence, and the undeniable knowledge that when she plays her best tennis, she can beat absolutely anyone on the planet. And with the hallowed grounds of Wimbledon beckoning just around the corner, Eala has firmly established herself as one of the most dangerous, exciting, and informed players on the tour. The entire tennis world will be watching her very closely at SW19, and if she brings this level of aggression, defense, and mental fortitude to London, we could be witnessing the start of a truly historic run. I want to thank all of you so much for tuning in and joining me for this incredibly detailed deep dive into one of the most shocking and spectacular matches of the year. I know we covered a massive amount of tactical ground today, but when a performance is this historically dominant, it deserves to be analyzed from every possible angle. What did you guys think of Eala's absolute masterclass today? Were you as stunned as I was by the sheer comprehensive nature of this victory? How far do you honestly think she can go at Wimbledon with this incredible level of grass court momentum behind her? And what adjustments does Linda Noskova need to make to combat the specific style of play in the future? I want to hear all of your thoughts, your hot takes, and your predictions. So please get down in the comment section below and let's get a huge discussion going. If you enjoyed this extensive documentary-style breakdown of today's absolute shocker, please do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It incredibly helps out the channel and pushes this content out to more passionate tennis fans around the world who love the deep tactical analysis. If you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our daily tennis coverage, match breakdowns, and breaking news from the ADP and WTA tours. We're going to have full, comprehensive coverage of the Berlin Open final tomorrow, and of course, massive, in-depth previews and daily recaps of the entire Wimbledon championships coming up very shortly, and you will not want to miss a single second of it. Until next time, keep loving the amazing sport tennis. Keep watching these incredible athletes push the boundaries of what is possible on the court, and I will see you all in the very next video. Take care, everyone.